Hi, Stephen Presley here. In this video, I'm going to use a couple of different examples to demonstrate the new Spectral Layers application from Steinberg. In the first example, I'm going to fix a badly out of balance mix, even though I don't have any access to the individual tracks that make up this mix. Let's get started. To begin a new project in Spectral Layers, you can simply open an audio file. This file is from a recording I did in the early 80s. I'm going to zoom in using the scroll wheel on my trackball and start around the 2-minute mark so we can listen for the problems here. Okay, we can hear that the main problem with this mix is that the drums are too loud and they're burying the other instruments, particularly the bass drum. Let's try to get a better view here. By going into the View menu and selecting Frequency Unit and Lock Spectrogram to 0HC, we're making sure that the lowest frequencies are always in view, which is where the bass drum resides. We can scroll vertically using Shift and the scroll wheel on our trackball. The items in the upper right corner give us parameters for sharpening our view further. In addition, going to the tool panel on the left side, we can select the 3D object, which looks like a cube. Moving this horizontally and vertically, we can add depth to our view. Again, in the panel in the upper right, we can view the changes we just made to this parameter and adjust them there as well. The Layers section is in the lower right side. We can change the color of the layers to our liking here. We can easily identify the drum hits. They're the vertical lines taking up most of the frequency range. The snare drums are wider because they have reverb on them. The narrow ones are the kick drum. They consist of two elements, the transients, which are the vertical lines, and the body, which are small blobs at the very lowest frequencies. We can select the transient parts using the Transient Selection tool found in the tool panel on the left. By selecting the Add function found in the toolbar at the top of the window, we can select more than one transient at one time. And when we push play, we can hear only our selections. We can create a new layer using the New Layer button at the very lower right corner. We'll name this layer Kick Transient. We'll now paste our selection to this new layer, and we can see it in the color we selected. By soloing this layer, we can play only the parts that are in this layer. To select the body of the kick drum, we'll use the Paintbrush Selection tool found in the tool panel on the left. The parameters for this tool, again, are found in the toolbar at the top of the window. These include the size, the aspect ratio, and the hardness. To save time, we're going to match the size with the blobs we see in the graph. The aspect ratio can be changed to match the shape of the selection we want to make. The selections we've made here, we're noticing, are a bit too big. So we're going to undo that selection and change the size to match better. Once we have that set, we can go through the whole song quickly. We want to paste these selections to yet a new layer so we can balance these elements independently. Using the volume sliders in the Layers panel, we can adjust the volume of the layers. This way we can lower the volume of the drum hits. The solo buttons in the Layers panel allows us to listen and view only the layers that are soloed. Now let's get to work. Okay, we've now gone through the whole song and are ready to audition that section we heard earlier and listen to the change in the mix. Wow, that was a major improvement. We can now hear this song the way it was meant to be heard, with a nice blend of instruments and not a focus on the drums. In this second example, we'll look at using spectral layers in sound design. Sometimes to capture an elusive sample, you have to be quick. I captured the sound of this unusual bird in less than ideal conditions. After normalizing the audio file in an audio editor, I loaded it into Spectral Layers. Because the bird wasn't that close to the microphone, I captured a lot of background noise. Let's have a listen. It seems that it would be just about impossible to get good clean bird sounds from this mess. But here's what we do. We're going to look for an area where there's just background noise. Then we're going to select the marquee tool and make a selection across that whole area, the whole frequency spectrum there. Then we go to Process and choose Noise Reduction, Register Noise. We'll then exit this selection using Command D. So we go back to the Process menu, select Noise Reduction again, and this time select Noise Reduction from the submenu. We want to remove all the noise, so we set the reduction ratio to 100%. We can preview the result. Because no selection is visible, this will affect the entire clip. Wow, what a difference. Now we just have the isolated bird sounds as well as a little bit of extraneous noise here and there. We can still see some low frequency noise down there. We can get rid of that using the marquee tool and pressing backspace. Let's give a listen to what we've got. Okay, we can still hear some noise from the footsteps that I made when I was trying to get closer to the bird. We can remove those the same way if we want. Okay, let's take this tutorial one step further. When we listen to the first couple of bird calls here, we notice that there's a crow overlapping with the exotic bird on the second call. Let's remove the crow and leave the exotic bird. While we're zooming in on this, we can use the hand tool to center our view. We can spot the crow here because we can both see and hear that it's in a higher frequency range than the exotic bird. To select just the crow, we'll use the magic wand tool on the left. Using the toolbar on the top, we can adjust parameters to get our selection more accurate. We can then use cut and paste to a new layer, just like in our previous example. Now let's solo our crow layer to see how well we did. Very good. Now let's solo the exotic bird layer to make sure it's still intact. Okay, that's it. We can now export each layer as a separate audio file, which we can later use as we wish. I hope that you have found this tutorial informative in some of the ways that you can use this amazing application. Meanwhile, please check out my latest album for which the first example was derived. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll subscribe to this channel.